Hello guys, welcome back. Now today we're going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins, who surprisingly have come out of the dead and surprisingly are second in the Metropolitan. Now the 28, 21, and 3 Pittsburgh Penguins are 8-2 in their last 10, which is very, very impressive. Again, second in the Metropolitan after being last in the division not too long ago. Very, very impressive by them. They've been underrated in the past month. Been playing very, very well in the hockey. Probably one of the better teams in the NHL right now. And they played the most games played, tied with the St. Louis Blues. I think they're up to like 52 games played in the league. So they're playing lots of games. And the Pittsburgh Penguins have played the most of the games in the league for the past 3 years. You got the World Cup of Hockey and then the 2 Cup runs. And of course, just all the hockey in regular season. They play the most hockey in the NHL for the past 3 years. And they're not really showing too many signs of wear and tear. Early in the season they did, but now they're coming back to form in the second half. And it's really, really showing. I expected them to be better in the second half when I went to my predictions and all that, but they are playing pretty well now, and they're doing the best that they can. I mean, they got some solid guys in front, and that first line, that Kessel, that Crosby, the Malkin are playing fantastic. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins are 8-2 in the last 10. Now, let's go for their schedule. They're at the Islanders to start off this little 10-game little hot streak here. They win 4-0 in New York, so that's a good opponent for them, and then they win. That's good for them. Then they go and versus the Bruins at home, and then they win 6-5 in overtime. The offense certainly showed up there. And the goaltending was kind of iffy in that game, especially. The Boston still got a point from it, so it's kind of what was their streak. And then they face Red Wings, and they win 4-1. They go versus the Rangers, win 5-2, a good Metro Division opponent, and they beat them. And then they go into Anaheim and lose 5-3, a tough opponent in their own building. So it's pretty respectable. Then they face the Kings, and they win 3-1. The Kings were kind of on a weird slide there, where they haven't been playing all that well, and they're in that kind of rut area at the middle of the season. They're not playing better than they were then, but the Pittsburgh Penguins definitely put them in a bigger hole there. Then they face the Sharks and then lose 2-1, a tough game right there. I think that was at San Jose, so they were having a tough opponent there at home. Then they go and face the Hurricanes, who they're having trouble with throughout the whole season, and then they win 3-1, so that's a good opponent who has been beating them throughout the whole season, so that's good to get a win against them, 3-1. Then they face the Wild, and then win 6-3 after the offense just exploded, and now they win against the Sharks last night, 5-2. Now, even though the goaltending hasn't necessarily been there throughout this 10-game little hot streak, the offense has certainly been there. One of the best offenses in the league in the last month has really, really shown up, and they've been playing fantastic. I mean, the Crosby line, I think it was Crosby, Malkin, or Russ, something like that, that's been playing fantastic. They have lots of guys, lots of decent depth on that team, really, and they've been showing up, especially this month, when they really haven't been doing it at the start of the season. Now, the top 5 in points on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Kessel leads the team with 59 points. I think 52 games, something like that. He's playing fantastic, and he really has played fantastic throughout the whole season. Not a lot of Pittsburgh Penguins can say that they have done that, but Kessel has played great throughout the whole season, been consistently great, and even though a lot of the guys have been starting to heat it up now, Kessel has always been playing well, so that's good for him. Then you have Crosby at 56 points, Malkin at 55 points, basically grouped together, both fantastic players. Malkin not having to be injured the whole time this season has definitely been beneficial for him. He's played a lot more games than he usually does. And then it really drops off after that with Hornquist with 30 points, so it's a 25-point drop off there, which is pretty concerning, but Hornquist is still a great player with 30 points. Letang at 29 points, so you got a defenseman contributing there. That's great to see. Of course, he was at the All-Star game. Now we go into the Corsi for percentage, the top 5 on the team, like I usually do. We'll start with Crosby, and again, this is past 20 games, so these players on the top 5 have to play more than 20 games for me to really count them. So let's get into it. Crosby with 55.8% Corsi for percentage. He's playing fantastic. Of course, as always, he's going to be a good Corsi player every single year, so it's really no surprise there. Letang with 55.4%. He's playing better than I really thought, especially on the advanced stats. He's playing really well on those. Hagelin 54.4%, basically a point percentage down from Letang, so he's still playing good though. He hasn't really gotten the goal scoring really this season. He's been missing a lot of chances, but he's definitely generating a lot of chances, and at least he's doing that. So at least he has the chances to miss, but he's making a lot of plays, and he hasn't been necessarily getting all the goals, but he's been making the plays. So really, that's good for him. At number 4, you have Rust at 54%. He's playing fantastic. Especially lately, he's been playing fantastic. Of course, I think he's playing with Crosby. Of course, that'll help you. But Russ has been playing fantastic. He's a good two-way guy, physical, and he basically does a lot of good things for you. And then at number 5, you have Gensel at 53.7%, a good playmaker and always a good player to play with Crosby. And of course, he's playing on a different line, I'm pretty sure. But he's still playing good this season, so that's good to hear. It's good to hear that he can rely. He doesn't have to rely on Crosby, especially if you're in that little group of players that have been succeeding because of Crosby. But to get out of that for a guy like Gensel, that's really good for him. Now I'm going to compare the Pittsburgh Penguins to the league average here. Let's start with the goals for. So the goals for the Penguins, this is 154, while the league average is 146. So the Penguins are scoring lots more goals, almost 10 more goals than the league average. That's really, really good to see for them. But on the goals against average, or the goals against, they have a 154 goals against. So it's basically as many goals as they're giving up, they're letting in goals. So as many goals as they're scoring, they're laying in goals. So it's kind of worrisome. Their defense isn't too great this season, and they're just allowing a little bit too many goals as the league average for goals against is 146. They're scoring goals, but they're allowing a little bit too many. So you could say as that needs to be fixed, maybe they go out and get somebody for the deadline. That may end up happening, but I'd say that they need to fix it a little bit. But on the special teams, it definitely isn't a worry. Now, the power play is at 26%, which is fantastic. I think they're the best power play in the league, which is just fantastic, especially in the start of the season. They were really doing it, but on the 5-on-5, they need to be a little bit more reliable on that side of the end. They can't really rely on the power play, especially since those kind of dry up in the playoffs, so they're going to need to rely a little bit more heavily on the 5-on-5 play. Even though the power play is fantastic, they're going to need to rely on some 5-on-5 play, but hey, having the power play at 26%, it's definitely not going to hurt you, so that's great, while the league average is 19%, so they're 7 points above the league average. That's fantastic. On the penalty kill, 82%, which is not bad at all, and the league average is 80%, so they're doing pretty great on the special teams. They really don't need to change anything there, but on the 5-on-5, I'd say that they need to work a little bit on that, but for the penalties and for the power plays, they really have nothing to worry about. Now, shot percentages, the Pittsburgh Penguins are at 8.6%, while the average is 9%. So I like to look at this just because of how the quality shots, and maybe this isn't really a thing about quality shots, more about the shots they're taking. Maybe they're taking loads of shots, and of course, not all the shots are going to go in, so maybe they're just taking a boatload of shots, and because they're taking all those shots, the percentages are going to go down because they're taking all those shots. That may be what's happening here. But they're really not having quite the amount of successful shots, quite the amount of high-quality shots they might need. I haven't watched too many Pittsburgh Penguins games this year, so I'm sorry about that, but it looks like they're going to kind of have to improve on the shot quality, and of course, maybe they're just getting so many shots in net that their quality is dropping on the shots. So that may be just what it is. On the save percentage, they're at 906. Now they have a couple of guys that have really stepped up this season, and Murray has been getting better as of late. And then the league average is 914. So they're going to have to improve on the save percentage for the goalies. That is something that they're going to work on, and they're going to have to work on. Now the stats for the goalies, we have Murray, Jari, and Smith. We don't talk about Niemi because he doesn't really count, and he was trashed anyways. But for the stats for the goalies, Murray's at a 906 save percentage, at 290 goals against average. In games played is 32, so he's played quite the amount of rubber there. He's faced quite an amount of these shots, so he's going to be a little bit less on the stats at least. But he hasn't played fantastic this season. Not really typical Murray that we've seen in the past couple of seasons. So he's going to have to work on it a little bit. He has gotten better in the last couple of games that he's played. Of course, last game was against the Sharks that he did play well, and he just needs to continue to get better, and his stats will start to rise. With Jari, he was sent down. I think he's in the AHL right now. He had a 19 save percentage with a 244 goals against average, so he was playing fantastic in the NHL. With 18 games played, he was playing great. Now we have Smith, who is an interesting story here. At 927 save percentage, a 208 goals against average. I think he's 26 years old. 6 games played, which is a decent amount of sample size. He was playing fantastic in the games that he's played. He's elite. I just gotta mention that. Not just kidding. But he's been playing fantastic. The Smith has really impressed. I guess everybody with a 927 goal save percentage. While that might be just a little bit of a fluke, I don't know if he's quite that good. But I think he's a decent goaltender, and I think that he could be better for the stretch down for the season for the Penguins, and he could be a reliable backup possibly if maybe Murray gets hurt. I'm not saying that he'll be Fleury in the playoffs if Murray gets hurt, but he might not. I don't think that he'll be the reason that the Penguins lose if Murray decides to get hurt. But the Smith is an okay goaltender back there, and if Murray ever gets hurt, he won't be Fleury, but he'll be a good goaltender there. Now, because they're in the Metro Division, just like the Central Division, they can't really put the gas pedal. They can't really let go of the gas pedal here. They need to keep getting wins, especially in the tight Metro. They just need to keep getting wins, and they'll be good. Make the playoffs. That's really the only thing that they should be worrying about is just making the playoffs. And hey, they're the Pittsburgh Penguins. They can do whatever they want in the playoffs, and they can make the Stanley Cup final and win the thing. For like nobody would really question it. Like they're one of the teams that goes to the playoffs and is getting. They're scary, and they're just scary. They can just pull Stanley Cup final out of the air, and if they make the playoffs, that's definitely going to be a scary thought. And they just need to make the playoffs, and anything can really happen for them, especially since the Pittsburgh Penguins have won 2 cups in a row. Maybe they go for a 3-peat. Maybe they try the hardest that they've ever tried, but they've faced so many games and played so many games, especially guys like Crosby have played so many games in the last 3 years that I don't even know if they'll be able to make the first round, but they're an interesting team here, and if they keep winning, who knows what really happens. And I think it's pretty likely that they'll go for someone in the deadline, maybe try and get a defenseman. I wouldn't say kind of like what they did last season, but kind of get more veteran leadership on that team. They don't really have the depth necessary. Maybe they want to ship out a contract because they really don't have the cap space right now. But they kind of need some depth there. They're kind of lacking on that front, and they could use it at the trade deadline. Who knows what really happens, but they can make some wacky moves. That's good for today, guys. Guys, enjoy it. Make sure to like. Guys, really enjoy it. Make sure to ring that bell if you haven't. Tell me down below what's your opinions on the Pittsburgh Penguins, because you probably see more of them than me. But that's good today, guys. See you guys later. Goodbye.